Happy June to you as we're back again with another update from the city of New Hope. Time to chat with the mayor to find out what's new and what's coming up. Welcome, Mayor. How are you today?
Hi, Dave. It quit raining, so I'm good.
Yes, finally, not as soggy as it has been. So maybe a nice week here. We'll talk about some of the reasons you might want to
Yeah.
get outside. Let's talk about the election season. It seems a long way off, but some important things happening right now in the city of New Hope around elections. What's going on?
Well, there are three spots available this year: the mayor's job, mine, and two council members. You have until the 4th of June at 5 o'clock to file. It's $5. You go in and you fill out a form, you give them your $5, you're in. So you have until the Tuesday, the 4th at 5 o'clock.
And there's a website here you can go to from the state if you want to find out updates. It's right there on the bottom of the screen to see who has filed in the city of New Hope and in surrounding communities as well. Let's talk about the Rave Awards as we dip into community development. They are promoting this great event. Again, remind us what that is, and there's some deadlines coming up.
There is. The rave is not an acronym, by the way. It's just like we're ranting and raving about something. So it is for homes where they've made some improvements just to make the house look nice inside or outside. So if you know somebody or you are that somebody, you can nominate yourself for a Rave Award, or you can nominate a neighbor or someone else you know. You have until the 29th of July to do that, but don't wait that long because after you nominate somebody, then they'll go out and look at the gardens or look at the project, and then we'll award the awards. But almost anything has a category. So if it looks really nice, and it looks like it's an improvement to the neighborhood, nominate them.
All right, encourage people to get involved in that. Also, people getting involved in New Hope in the curbside appeal program. Again, remind us what that is, and it looks like we have another application approved.
Well, what that is we want houses to look nice from the outside, from the curb. So we have offered people a 25% cash back, if you will. You have to get your project approved, and it has to be an improvement to the outside of your house. So we just approved our 28th application. They're putting in some living space above the garage and some front porch, actually, a covered front porch. So the program seems to be working well, but I want to tell people it's not for the inside of the house. This is just the outside, what you can see from the curb.
Yes. All right. Well, get ready here. We've got a whirlwind of a tour around the city with scattered site housing. A lot going on, Mayor, at this time. Let's begin at 36 in Louisiana. We've been following that property. How are things coming along?
It's done. It's done. The trees are in, the sod's in, the irrigation system's in, it's ready to go. So I believe they had a buyer for that. I don't know if that's still true or not. I haven't seen anything, but the house is actually complete and it looks lovely. Just really nice.
Over in the corner of 42nd and Boone, we've got one house complete, and the other one is catching up rather quickly as well.
This is the two houses on Boone, and they both face Boone Avenue. And so they've got T driveways in them so that people don't have to back out onto Boone. Well, that north house now, the outside is pretty much done, and they'll be inside doing the interior work this week.
The property in that area, 4220 Nevada, purchase agreement in process here. Give us a little more background on this property.
So they're signing on that today, actually, on the 3rd of June. That property is 130 by 130. So it's just short of the size that a residential lot in New Hope could be. So once we sign on that, the next thing that'll happen, I think they're going to apply to the EDA to split that lot into two. And then once that's done, they'll go out for demolition bids to tear the house and the garage down. And then they'll go to developers to put a couple new houses there.
All right, keep moving north in the city up to 5421 Virginia Avenue. That again is a house that's in the purchase agreement process as well.
So they did sign a purchase agreement, and they think the closing on that one's going to be in July. So more to come on that.
All right, 5692 Boone Place. We've been talking about this property that has switched streets here. How is that work coming along?
Well, the roof and the windows are in. And so once they get it all sealed up like that, then they'll move inside and start doing the interior. I believe they have a buyer for that one too.
Let's move over to 50th Avenue, a couple of properties there, a big lot that was split into two, as the city has done on occasion. How are these coming?
Well, both of those will face 50th, and they're starting with the interior house, and that's going to be a two-story. And so I rode by there. There's this big pile of dirt, and so the walls are in, the underground walls, the basement walls are in, and they were pouring cement. So progress is being made on that one too. I think they're planning to finish that one before they start the second one.
And last property to report on is 8024 50th Avenue. Again, another property that's in the purchase process as well.
That is, we've signed a purchase agreement. What's going on with that one now is they have to get the property owners to sign the agreement. I'm guessing that whoever owns that property isn't right here. So they probably have to send it away and get that. Takes a little while. Once we have that done, then they'll schedule that closing. And I'm guessing that's going to probably be in July also.
One final update from community development, just a couple of days away from the next business networking group. Again, remind us date, time, and where that's going to be.
That is going to be at City Hall at 8:30 on the 5th, and is being sponsored by Primera Financial Services. So even if you don't want financial services, it's a good place to come. A lot of small businesses, they pass around cards. Usually there's 25 or 30 people there, and it's just a good way to network.
Fantastic. All right, stop by City Hall and join in on that. No reason to need to register ahead. You can just stop by and join the fun. Police department update. A lot happening here as we get into spring. And here's a fun one. One of the officers attended a early learning spring party. That had to be fun.
This is all part of the community engagement. And we want our cops out there engaging all the time they can. Every time they engage with the little people go home and tell mom and dad that they've engaged with the police officers. So one of our reserve officers went with one of our police officers to this party.
Chief Hoyt had an opportunity to go to a meeting of something called the PUPS facility. Help us understand a little bit more what PUPS is and how that helps out the city of Newport.
Well, PUPS stands for Pets Under Police Supervision. And there's one facility, it's in Maple Grove, and it's governed, if you will, by a board, and our police chief is on that board. We all use that. So where that is, if they pick up a stray dog, what do they do with it? So they bring it to PUPS. If you've got a dog that might have bit somebody and they need to be removed from where they are, again, that dog would go into PUPS and be quarantined. Because all the cities use it, we all pay into that. It's governed by a person from each city that's on that board.
And a couple other final police notes here. We have the retirement of a longtime police staff person. Tell us a little bit more about that person.
Well, the police department office is run by a person. Her name is Gina. She just retired. She had 16 years with the police department. 7 of those were the office supervisors. So sorry to lose her. We do have a new person that's coming in, and she has already started.
All right, and under HR in just a minute, we'll talk a little bit more about the police department and some of the staff in there. And you wanted to make one final note about the police department as well. They were busy assisting the city of Minneapolis this weekend.
Whenever there's a crisis in another city, all of the cities send a police officer to assist that police department. And so we sent a couple of our officers down there in assistance. Now they may need more assistance as time goes on, and we'll do that too. They do that for us, we'll do that for them.
Great opportunity for the cities to apply that mutual aid. Public Works we go. The sports fans waiting to get out and play on the lighted field. Mayor, you have good news. It's ready to go.
I do. This is a two-part thing. One is the Park and Rec Department is the person that the field belongs to, but the work gets done by Public Works. So they've been busily trying to get that grass to take hold. They've been cutting, watering, doing all the stuff they do. It's ready. So this week, I think they've got some games in there.
Fantastic.
If it doesn't rain.
Yes, let's hope not. Other things in Public Works, a lot of work happening with valves and hydrants. Mayor, help us understand what all these valves are and what's going on.
So this is a two-part thing too. Okay. So everybody has a valve, and there's hydrants along the way. So on Hillsborough Avenue, what they were going to do is replace a lot of those valves. So if you noticed, a lot of the curb cuts were gone, or they took curb out so they could replace the valve. So when they're doing all that, they have to shut off the water. So what they did is the public works people did a trial of shutting off the water to make sure that it would go well. You don't want that water going through those pipes when they're replacing these valves. So they did a pre-test on that, and that went fine. And then when they did the real thing, and they're doing that this week too, they let the neighbors know. That'll be done during the day. They let the neighbors know that they won't have water for a certain amount of time. It won't be days, it'll be hours that they'll be out without water.
And some of these a little bit more involved. It looks like the city helped out a contractor on one that was happening at an apartment complex. So the city gets involved in a little bit of everything, don't they?
They do. Well, a valve is a valve, but if the valve isn't working, you can't replace it without shutting off the water to that. And so our public works people then go and they shut off the water to the building. They were helping the contractor then get that valve replaced, and then they bring the water back on, make sure it doesn't leak. So they work really closely with the contractor that's doing that work just to preserve that we know that our water is going where it should be going and not coming out the sides.
Also in Public Works, just you want to make a quick mention about the South Water Tower. Again, some information there about kind of the insides of that water tower and what's inside of it and some of the painting that might need to be done.
So we are scheduled to paint the water tower every 10 years. Now it's been a couple of years past that, and we're going to paint not only the outside but the inside. And to do that, we have to make arrangements with Golden Valley and Crystal to supply water to the south part of our city because we have to drain that water tower. Now, there's been some comment about this lead paint inside the water tower, and I asked at a council meeting, is that affecting the water that people are drinking? And no, it was not. That lead paint was in an area that the water wasn't in. So the part that had water in it was just fine. We test the water all the time. So there's no danger to anybody of getting lead poisoning because it's been tested. But now think about that. Somebody's got to go in that tower, and I don't know if they scrape the paint or I don't know what they do, but they're in that tower doing stuff. And then the scarier part is that they're on the outside of the tower doing it. So it should be good watching for a while when they redo that tower.
Exactly. And we've got a few pictures here with Public Works working on their building. The construction continues to go on and some things going over the top of it now.
So they put up these huge walls, and I asked them how they're holding them up, and they put on the rafters. That's what holds them up. Well, walls are up, rafters are up. If it quits raining long enough, they're going to roof it this week. So that's the plan. They'll put something down, and then they'll do the roofing this week. So it's getting there. It just takes a while.
All right, let's head to the roads, talk about a little of the construction that people have had to dodge around here. First, we've got the area around 36, 169, Winnetka. What has been happening there and what's still to come?
Well, our summer season is kind of short, and we have to do this road construction when we can. And if you're going to put down a blacktop, there's a limited time you can put that down. If it's too cold, you can't. If it's too wet, you can't. It's just really funny. So on 36, they actually paved that from 169 to Winnetka. That was paved last week. And also last week, they did some milling on 42nd from Xylon to Winnetka. Milling is when they kind of grind it all up and it's a rough surface. And now this week, they're going to do the overlay. They'll pave that. So it'll be down to 2 lanes, one each way. If you can avoid 42nd, that's probably a really good idea till they get that laid down, because otherwise it's going to be really slow going.
Good advice. All right, let's head to Park and Rec, and this is where you might have some opportunities to get outside, and some people already have been outside. First one thing that is coming up, a movie in the park. Is this the first one for the season coming up?
It is. That's going to be on the 13th of June. These movies are free. Bring a chair. They have some activities before the movie, so come early to get a good spot. This time it's going to be Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I have no idea what that means. But if it's an Indiana Jones, it's going to be fun.
It's got to be good. All right. So that's the first movie, but we had the first concert already, and you might recognize this guy that was on the stage in New Hope. What happened recently?
It was absolutely Elvis last week, and
Nice.
it was so fun. He really interacted with the crowd. His mom was there, and he sang a song to his mother, an Elvis song. It was
Very
so cute.
nice.
So the next group that's coming on the 5th this week is the Minneapolis Commodores Barbershop Chorus.
Very nice.
And that all these concerts are 7 to 8:30. Again, you bring your own chair or blanket to sit on. And there's that touring, that leveling out there. So it helps to bring a chair to sit on. But you have to come early because it gets pretty full pretty quick.
The price is right. It is free, so get out and enjoy. Let's talk about the weeds in the trees that time of the year where a lot of attention paid to both of those. How is that process moving along?
So the assistant weed inspector, I being the weed inspector, thank goodness I have an assistant. The assistant weed inspector has been out giving notices to those people who haven't mowed their lawn yet. There's one on Winnetka that's pretty tall, and the guy that owns the property doesn't live there, and I basically forgot. I don't know how you can forget, but he got a little notice that said you better do that. So that's been happening. Notices have been sent out. What happens with the notice? You have, I believe it's 10 days to get those cut. If you don't, the city comes in and they cut it for you at a rather high price. So if you got a notice, get that done. If you got a broken lawnmower, it would help if you call the weed inspector, the assistant weed inspector, and told them they might be a little more forgiving if you've got a broken lawnmower and couldn't get it back yet. But you have to do something. Don't let those weeds grow any longer. All the dandelions have gone to seed and they've all blown over everybody else's lawn. So let's get that. So the other part is the emerald ash borer. So they're still tagging trees. They're only tagging the trees that are 15 feet on the boulevards, and of course the ones that are in the public space. Most of those trees have come down. There's still a few left, and they should be planting the new trees on the boulevards. If you've got a new tree coming and you haven't been notified about what kind of tree you want, you need to call City Hall and ask for the city forester. Make sure you get on that list, and he'll get your name on there so you'll get your new tree sometime this spring.
Let's give you the city's website as well, newhopemn.gov. All of those phone numbers available there, so you can check those out. You can also check out maybe getting into some of these facilities through Park and Rec and have some fun out there. Let's first go to the golf course. You see the picture behind the mayor. If you saw a lot of yellow out at the golf course recently here, for good reason, there were some lions on the course.
They were. So the New Hope Lions had their annual tournament, had 140 plus golfers. That means they had 35 tee times. They started at 7 in the morning and they sent these guys out, I think, every 7 or 8 minutes, just continually till about 1 o'clock. Brought in some food from Frankie's, sat on the patio. It was really nice. They also had a group that came in that rented the patio. Want to remind people, if they want that patio for a graduation party, they best get it quickly because those spaces go really quick, and it's a nice place. Nice place to have. There's grills, there's a cover on it. Just a nice place to have a graduation party.
Another nice place in the city that a lot of people are taking advantage of in the off season here is the ice arena. I just cannot believe, Mayor, all of the people that are using that arena through the summer.
They are, they schedule this. They actually schedule it in the winter so that they know it's used. So there's something called I gotta read this, the Red Black League. They finished up this last Sunday, so they're done. But there was a group called the Trail Smoke Eaters Junior Hockey Team from British Columbia, and they had a camp there over the weekend. And so they were skating and doing some camping there. Well, not actual camping, but learning stuff. And then, of course, we've got the 8 men's groups that always run it. And then there's the open skating on Fridays and Sundays. So it keeps pretty busy.
That is amazing. One other spot that's very busy and was as it opened up and now will continue to be. And you've got some good news as far as when people can swim. This is the aquatic park opening weekend. I understand went very well.
It went very well. There's an awful lot of work that goes into getting this open, not just putting water in the pool and the right chemicals, but getting stuff for the concession stands, getting all those lifeguards, getting everything ready. So Tony, who is the supervisor of that, he was ready. He was there early Saturday morning. It didn't open till noon, and he was ready. So it was open on Saturday, Sunday to a full house both days. The good news is they're going to open on the 6th of June instead of the 8th that we've been advertising. So the 6th of June at noon, the pool will open and it'll be officially open for the summer, except for that time when they have to close for the swim team leagues. But if you'll notice, there's a lot of other activity going on before noon. So the swim teams come and practice. The little guys can sit in the pool, the 0 to 5-year-olds can sit in the pool. There's some water walkers that will be in the channel. It's just a busy place before it even opens. So
That's right.
Anyway, summer is here on the 6th of June.
Yay, the season is upon us. That is good to hear. All right, one quick note from HR. We mentioned it earlier, some changes in the police department as far as staffing. Bring us up to date on the police staffing and also one other in the maintenance department, I believe.
So we have a new police clerk and a maintenance worker, and they both started today. Typically what they do is they put them in a room and they're supposed to read the policies and procedures. I'm sure that's really exciting. And then both of them will go to their respective departments tomorrow. So the maintenance worker will go to Public Works, the police clerk will go to the police department, and they'll just be part of the team. Stopped in to meet both of them today, and they're excited to be in New Hope. So we're excited to have them.
And one opening in the police department as far as an officer. Tell us how that process is moving.
One of our police officers retired, and so we, of course, sent out information to get people to apply. We did the interviews. One of the people that we did the interviews is actually going to be passed on to the personnel board, and then they'll interview them, and then the police chief and the city manager will interview them this week sometime. And so we'll probably have a new police officer.
As we wrap up today, a couple final notes and then some fun facts for you from the mayor as well. First note is citywide garage sale. That is coming very quickly here, and now is the time for people to register. How can residents of New Hope do that?
Yeah. So it's June 14th and 15th. And the reason we want people to register, because we put out a map with all the garage sales that are happening that weekend. Now, just because it's the 14th or 15th doesn't mean you can't open on the 12th or 13th. Doesn't mean you can't stay open past the 15th. It just means that on those 2 days, you will be on the map and you will be open. So you do need to register, I think, by the end of this week, so she can get all the little numbers on the maps. You can go in and get a free map if you want to get a map and pass it out to your friends, or it'll also be online.
Good. One other note to pass along, we've been talking about the City Academy, something the city was hoping to do for the first time, but I understand that that is not going to happen this year.
Nope, we had to cancel that. We had just lack of applications. You know, it's summertime. It's really hard to get people in the summer to commit. But they are going to do a city days, and they're going to do that in conjunction with the trunk and treat that happens in October. So what happens in October is people bring their cars and open up their trunks, the police cars, the fire trucks. They open up their trunks so the kids can go trick-or-treating. The other things that happens is the colors of the world. The kindergartners in New Hope color pictures of their skin color the pictures of themselves and their caregivers, and those will be posted all over City Hall. And then we'll have tables there so you can see what the different departments do and how to talk to them if you need to.
All right, we will keep that on our notes here, and as we get closer, give you all the information you need to get involved in that event. Food Truck Friday is coming soon as well. Give us the details on this great opportunity to get some fine food and maybe chat with some New Hope residents.
Well, that starts on the 7th, this coming Friday, from 11 to 2. They're calling it Food Truck Friday. They'll be there all summer long. Just kind of a side note, there were a couple food trucks at Music in the Park, and I think they're going to have them again, and I think they're going to have them at the movie in the park. So just look for those food trucks. They're not overly expensive, and get some food and sit and watch a movie or listen to music.
Good idea. All right. Now, as we wrap up, time for some fun facts that affect and are about the city of New Hope. And you've done some digging into the Hennepin County numbers. Mayor, give us a little bit of a look inside Hennepin County and some of the numbers they have on new homes.
Well, all their numbers are always a year behind because that's when they wrap up and it takes time to get it out. So from 2020, April 1st of 2020 to April 1st of 2023, that's when all these figures I'm going to give you. New Hope built 34 new houses, which is really amazing for a landlocked community. The total dwelling units in New Hope in that period is 9,393. When I talk about dwelling units, that's where people live. It could be an apartment, could be a townhouse, it could be a single family home. The population, we don't do a census. We did one in 2020, and it went down a little bit there, and they estimated in 2023, but it's now 21,733. So 21,000 residents and 733, just to make sure.
That is a big city with a lot of people and a lot of things going on for those residents. Mayor, thanks so much for the time today and bringing us up to date, and stick with us. We've got a calendar of some of the things coming up in the very near future that you, again, might want to get on your calendar at home. Mayor, have a great week. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week.
Thanks, Dave. See you next week.
Learn more about The Connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.